Accidentally Brave. On our next episode, we are going to be talking with Jen Cox, a good friend of mine and past client. So grab your favorite beverage and let's jump into our time with Jen. So, hi, Jen.
Hi, Ashley. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we are so excited to learn more about you and hear about your stories about being brave. So let's jump right into it. Tell us a
Okay.
little bit about yourself, what you do, and maybe something you're working on currently.
Yeah, so I'm Jen Cox. I am a left-handed Capricorn, just to start out with something funny, who loves water and fireplaces. I'm currently in Missouri with my mom, but have lived in North Carolina and loved North Carolina for the past 15 years. I am in sales and marketing, and I currently work with my clients to connect brands with their events through sponsorships. So those are the things that I normally work on day to day. But I'm also stepping into my own little company.
Yes, so
And yes, which Ashley has helped me with. So jen-cox.com. And it's going to be all things sponsorship sales. I like to announce events on the side, and hopefully that will become more of a main focus, but we'll see. So, yeah, that's
yeah. So a little side question: Are like starting your own business, stepping out on your own? Like, what has that felt like? Like in the last,
it
because I
is.
know it's been recent in the last couple of months. So tell us a
Yes.
little bit about that.
It has been really exciting and scary all at the same time. I'm really lucky to have my past boss really be supportive of that. And my clients from my previous company just wanted to come with me to work with me exclusively, which felt really great. But it is scary in the fact that you have those voices in your head like, what are you doing? What do you mean you
Totally.
own your own company?
They always pop up at the worst times too. Yeah. So when you've had those thoughts come up, what's something that you've done to like help counteract that, or like how have you overcome that, or have you overcome it, or yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, I think it is something that is hard in the moment, and it's easy to listen to that voice in your head saying, "What are you doing? You should work for somebody else. What makes you think that you can work for yourself?" And
Yeah.
then I go back to conversations with clients and just really listening to them and having them express their faith that they have in me, and going back to past situations where I um, I essentially was working for myself. I was 1099 with my previous company, so the transition was somewhat easy. It's just making it official, but going back to everything that I've done and proven myself over and over. So I think my past clients actually really helped me with
Over that.
lowering that
Yeah.
voice. Yeah.
So good.
Mhm.
So in tell us about a time where you like obviously starting your own business and going and doing your own thing. That's brave within itself. So
Mhm.
kudos to you. But
Mhm.
tell us about another time in your life, personal business, where you were called to be brave and put on your brave girl pants and face whatever you were going through.
So honestly, I feel like my entire 2020 year was Brave Girl Pants the entire time, and continuing on into 2021. But I had this feeling, kind of like my gut, my intuition. I definitely rely heavily on my faith, and I knew that I needed to sell my townhouse in North Carolina. So, but I wanted to be open to selling my townhouse and then traveling around the world, having an eat, pray, love year. And,
Yeah.
my stuff, my belongings are in storage in Durham. So it's like in a storage unit. And I was ready to like live in Charlotte for a little while, live in another city, and all these things. Well, we know the world shut down. and having an eat, pray, love year was just not going to happen. And a lot of people's plans were not going to happen. On top of that, my friend that I was living with, our dogs got into a fight, and sent my dog to the ER, which my dog is like my daughter, if
Yeah.
anyone can relate to that.
Her
So
baby.
that
Yes,
was,
I can.
yes, my baby. So I was like, oh no. And it was very sad for us as friends because we really wanted to live together. The pandemic's happening, just all these things are happening. So I called my mom, like any person does, right? Call your mom, call whoever is your go-to person.
Yeah.
And I moved to Missouri just for a little bit. I'm like, you know what? The world's shut down. Let's go spend some time with the family. That was kind of on the plan to help my mom organize some things. And I was like, this is great. I'm just here a little bit sooner than I was planning. And it's just so funny because you can plan all you want, but I truly believe like God, higher power, universe, whatever really you can relate to,
Yeah.
puts you where you need to be.
Or pulls you
Well,
out of situations and like, nope,
yes,
this isn't what is gonna happen. Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So that was brave. That was, oh gosh, you got to go with your gut, and not what other people are suggesting for you. And they have great intentions, but you have to do what really feels good to you, right? So then I'm here 3 months, and my dad passes away, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So being brave through that entire process, when you're already having to be brave, be brave, be brave, be brave, boom, like, okay, so now it's even, put on like the steel brave girl pants, like, you know what I mean, like,
We've
okay, now
moved
you gotta,
from the leather pants to so,
yes, like the actual armor, like,
yeah.
Wonder Woman's get up, whatever. Yeah.
So so yeah, talk about that maybe a little bit more of like how obviously losing someone that close to you is so difficult. And if you're asking to be brave, moving into that unknown over and over and over again, talk about that mindset of like, okay, now this happened. How did you show up in those days? How did you make that decision?
Well, one of my mantras and favorite verse is walk by faith, not by sight.
Mhm.
Um, so 2 Corinthians 5:7. So I have really relied on that in past situations, leaving a job, making changes, which seem so little now compared to the year of 2020, to me personally. But walk by faith, not by sight.
Yeah.
So literally, my dad's not here, but he's here. And just having to like uh know that your best is going to change. And my best on some of those days was getting out of bed, eating, and like taking a shower.
Yeah. Totally.
And being okay with that.
Right.
Yeah.
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 I think that that's a skill that a lot of people might not have until they're in a situation like that. And then they're like, okay, I did my best today, even though it was this, I still did my best. Yeah.
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 And really just having that mindset of, okay, feel your feelings. Um it's like on the Today Show, I saw this guy talking about embrace the suck. He's a past Marine, and I'm like, oh my goodness,
Yes.
embrace the suck. Like,
Yes.
it is a tough, terrible time, um, but you have to keep going. I could hear like my dad in my head just being like, get out of bed, do
Yeah.
your best.
That's one of my favorite scenes too. It was painted on the wall in one of the gyms I went to, like the CrossFit gym. And
Oh,
that's what I was
nice.
going through like a season of mine. And I'm like, yeah, so that totally, yeah, embrace the
Mhm.
suck. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a hard time. So it's like embracing it, it's sitting with it, and then it's trusting again my gut and my intuition and what is best for me and for my family.
Yeah.
And again, my faith was tested. I'm not gonna lie, I was mad.
Yeah.
Um, but coming back to that, and my faith has definitely guided me through this entire year. So, but the unknown, I've just embraced it,
Yeah.
and it's scary as heck, but I'm still, I'm not regretting anything. Selling my townhouse. So going back to the very beginning, selling my townhouse, I'm still happy with that decision.
Right.
Although there have been moments where I'm like, oh shoot, that would have been nice to just not have done that. But it wouldn't have led me to 98 days with my dad as
Totally.
a grown adult, so
Yeah.
that was
What a blessing,
so worth
what a
it.
gift to
hmm
receive that you didn't even know it was a gift until it happened. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to be here, and to just be with him as a family as he was passing. Like, that's a huge gift too.
Oh my gosh.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
hard as it was, um, I was saying it was like the best worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was awesome. And then just to be here for my mom and just guiding in this next chapter
Mhm.
of her life and my life. And I still don't know where I'm going to live. If anyone has suggestions of cities of where I should move.
You always come
Ever.
together. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah. So when you talk about like leaning into that unknown and like that uncomfortable space, you can feel so stuck. What are some of the daily things that you actually did to lean into that? How did you navigate that?
So I continued, I love the 5-minute journal. I even in my darkest hour, I was still doing the 5-minute journal, which
Yeah.
is mind blowing to me.
Mhm.
And going back to those, and I think you might have been on that call when I did in
Yeah.
our mastermind, but
Yes.
when I go back to those dates, I mean the date that my dad passed away, the next day, the following day, I was still doing that
That's so,
practice.
yeah. And for
Yeah.
anybody that doesn't know, the 5-minute journal has you list out 3 things you're grateful for every day. And then 3 things that would make that day great. And then an affirmation. So, yeah, I can't imagine going back and reading some of those and being like, oh my gosh, like yeah,
It was amazing.
yeah,
Um, I will so the 5-minute journal, I was doing the daily devotion. I like to do that. So whatever that looks like for you, um, I think some kind of just guidance of like, what is the universe telling you? What is God? Whatever your source is, just like tapping into that. But honestly, Ashley, like I for 2 weeks I didn't work out. It was basically, like I said, shower, eat, get out of bed. And
survive.
I was like, check, check, check.
Yeah,
Yeah. And also planning a funeral in a pandemic. No big deal.
yeah,
So I like to laugh about how I always said that I didn't want to do weddings to my boss because we were in event planning. And I love event planning, but weddings scared me. I did some, but it's just scary. Well, I forgot to mention that I don't do funerals, and I was just laughing so hard that I was planning a funeral. So it's my bad. It's
you
all on me.
yeah, yeah,
Um, but I think after that kind of like that 2-week time of just like, okay, like, whew, you got like seriously tackled on the football field. You're taken off on the stretcher, like
totally.
I relate a lot of things to like sports as well. But um, going back to my yoga practice and just going back to exercise because grief is heavy. It's a heavy thing.
All right, so let's talk about like through that tough time of 2020 was rough for a lot of people, but especially like losing somebody that close to you during that time. What are some of the lessons or like big ideas that you learned navigating that, moving through that time?
Yeah. I think the thing that I mostly learned is who you truly are, because all of my knowns were taken away. And I feel like 100% of the globe can relate to that, right? So all of your like, this is going to happen this year was taken away. Like oh, okay, doing the pivot, saying that term is just so funny. But yeah, like knowing how to navigate in a different direction because it literally was taken away. Um, so really just seeing who I was, um, when I don't even have my stuff. I don't even have my belongings, right? Like I
Right.
have a little bit of them, but it's like who you truly are is amazing.
Yes.
Like, and just knowing that no matter what is thrown at you, you will figure it out.
Yeah.
And
Oh my
it
God.
is it is not going to be easy. Nope. It is not going to be pretty. It is going to be a struggle, but again, I think everything is thrown your way for a reason. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. Um, so just yeah, just seeing who I was when a lot of things were taken away
Yeah. I can relate
is
to
probably the
that
lesson.
so much. Like when, like the lowest of lows, like
Mhm,
everything, like you literally have to take it day by day. And
mhm,
like, cause you're almost finding out like who you are, but then it's also this new birth of like
mhm.
this new you. And like hearing you talk about that like gave me chills. I'm like, oh my gosh, I totally relate to that because when I went through some of my brave moments, it was
Mhm,
like everything that I knew that I was gone. Like
mhm.
not anymore, can't go back. Now what? So
Right.
totally relate to that.
Yeah.
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 So what are some of the things um like that you saw come out of that, like that you learned about yourself, like um maybe some characteristics that came out or that you were able.
Yeah. I think you truly you know your strength and you know where your strength comes from. Um, so you get clarity on that. But then you also know what your insecurities are.
Mm,
Like it brings up,
mm,
yeah, a lot of insecurities. And just, when you have a big family dynamic shift and a change in your family, I think it brings up things from your past, right?
oh my god.
Um, yeah. So I'm super grateful that I already had some of these healthy um ways of dealing with just like personal confrontation within myself. Um so again, the journaling practice, my yoga, working out. I mean, for me, like that's what I need to do to make sure to like lift whatever is like weighing down on my shoulders, like physically weighing down my shoulders. Um but learning how to navigate really tough conversations, right? Like with your family. So tough conversations with clients, like sure, like those are hard and uncomfortable,
I'm
but
sure every person listening can relate to that, like
yeah, but
yeah.
actually having those hard, tough conversations with family members, you're like, oh, okay, breathe. So I think it brought up some insecurities and it definitely it's good to just talk it out with I mean, we've had to have like family meetings because it's just something that we're like, let's talk it out. But it has brought us closer as a family for sure. And I think all in all, we've dealt with it really well. Considering it could be like, yeah.
Yeah. And so would you say that you guys are maybe even closer now or like working through some of those?
Yeah, I mean, the fact that like my mom and I are roommates now, it definitely has brought us closer. And I have lived in North Carolina for 15 years, right? Like right out of college, I was like, see ya, bye. I'm moving halfway off across the country. And of course, as a family, we visited each other. They went to North Carolina a lot. We vacationed together. So we definitely saw each other. Um, but the fact that my mom and I can spend this amount of time together is such a gift. Although I think we drive each other a little crazy. I probably drive my mom
I
more crazy
I think
than anything.
I think that's normal for any women like dynamics like within a family.
Yeah. We literally, we literally are the Golden Girls. It's crazy.
Need a timeout. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh my gosh. So if I know somebody listening right now is probably going through something similar, like facing the unknown, facing uncertainty. So what is a piece of advice or a couple pieces of advice that you would give to someone who is in that boat right this minute?
Well, and I'm still in the boat, right? I'm still in the unknown. And I think that I'm just a little bit more used to being in the unknown, that it's gonna, that I'm like, it'll be okay. It's all gonna figure it out. I would recommend, again, sitting with all the things that are coming to you, right? I just had, if I'm being very honest, I just had a meltdown 2 days ago about where's my life going, what am I doing, where am I going to live. You have that kind of spiral out. But then I got a phone call about a really great opportunity. I'm like, okay, see, it all just kind of works together. But I would say that if writing is something that is calling to you, write out your feelings. Talk about what you're feeling. Visualize about what you want, manifest what, if that relates to you.
Yeah.
But like, talk to yourself about what you want, right? And I think that a lot of people don't step into the unknown because it is so scary. So the fact, if somebody's listening, the fact that you are in the unknown is already a great achievement, right?
And to acknowledge that you're in that space is totally step one of like,
right.
Okay, now what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And just listen to your gut. Don't let other people tell you what to do and make decisions for you. I think that it's always so wonderful to listen to everybody's, guidance. And again, I think most of your circle is coming from a really great place. But if it doesn't feel right to you and your gut and your intuition, you have to just make that decision for yourself. So embrace the unknown, feel what you're feeling, acknowledge that, and then just, look at the options and the possibilities, and just step into that and see where that takes you.
Yeah. All great tips. So anything else that you want to share about where the people can find you if they want to work with you? Tell us your deets.
Yeah, my deets. I love Instagram. I am _Jen, Jen, just one N, .Cox, C as a cat, OX _. So _Jen.Cox _. And then my landing page and hopefully website one day is jen-cox.com. So you can check me out there. Yeah, but send me a DM, reach out to me. I I would just love to share my thoughts and help anyone else that's kind of going into the unknown. And again, I'm in the unknown still, so we'll see where it takes me.
You're doing an amazing job, and it's been such a pleasure to talk to you, hear your story. I know it's going to touch someone when they hear it. So thank you so much for your time. And we'll put all of our deets too in the description of the YouTube video so that you can have access to her super easily. And thanks, Jen, for your time. And
thank you.
Maybe we'll be talking to you again soon.
Yeah, I would love that. That'd be awesome.